All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the part-time Avenger. That is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today, we're here. We're going to space. It's a theme recently, but we are going to do it in an animated version because, hey, it's us, and it's Mario Galaxy.
Super Mario Brothers Galaxy, the long-awaited sequel. It seems like that movie should have came out a lot sooner, right? Like, it seems like they came out with, that movie, which was a hit. Everyone loved Peaches, and Jack Black was just I don't know, he was just everywhere for that song, and kids were singing it at talent shows, and everyone loved it, right? But I feel like it's been 2 years since the other Mario movie?
Something like that. Something like that. It's really funny. That was the first movie we took my son to, but that came out in 2023. But later in 2023, I believe.
Okay. Well,
but yeah, that was the first movie we took my son to, and my wife did one of those, mom side-by-sides that they do, and it's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. It came out April 5th of 23, so I was wrong about the time. So yeah, very, very similar 3-year difference.
You would think that, for a cash cow such as Super Mario, that it would literally be all right, we're going to come out with this movie, and we're going to come out with another movie the following year, or maybe 18 months. But 3 years, here we are. It doesn't seem like that long ago. Maybe it was just they were too busy making other stuff that didn't.
Well, I think they were waiting.
Make money.
This year's the 40th anniversary of Mario. You got to do big Mario stuff for the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, but they could have done 3 movies for the trilogy to release on the 40th anniversary. That would have been pretty sweet.
They were busy launching a new console and stuff.
Yeah. For Mario, let's bring it back old school and tell me about your origin with Super Mario and the whole mythos.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It was an 8-bit screen in the mid-'80s where things were hard, repetition was regular, and warp pipes were aplenty. That would be Super Mario Duck Hunt and World Class Track Meet is where I got introduced to Mario. But let's be honest, my favorite Mario, the early Mario that I saw that wasn't computer-generated Mario, was Captain Lou Albano in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Which did have a bangin' theme song that they did play in the Super Mario Brothers movie that came out years ago.
They sampled it in this one too, because they were hooked on the brothers.
Yeah, it's there's so much good music in these 2 Mario movies, and so that's the cool thing. For my origin of Mario, my brother and I got a Nintendo for Christmas from my godmother. And of course, everyone played Mario because it came with it. So it's yeah, that's exactly what you're going to play. And so I did play that. I wasn't wild about Mario. It was fun. But at the same time, when it came to the overall gameplay, I wasn't much for side scrollers, getting mushrooms and all that stuff. It is what it is. I didn't have a bad time, but I thoroughly enjoyed Super Mario 2. And that was my favorite. I don't care what you all say. That's my favorite Mario out of all of them. It's so much fun, so much different, and you get to be 4 different characters. How could you not like it? For all the Mario purists out there, whatever.
Who are you saying you all to? We agreed on this the last time we talked Mario.
We are in the minority. We are in the minority. Well, a lot of people think Mario 2 sucks.
Yeah,
and it's
they're very Mario 3-ish. Which isn't
Mario
bad.
3 is great too. It's great. It's a great game. But come on, man. Luigi with his little fluttery legs and
I mean, I think that we've got some time to talk about Mario 2 during this podcast at a point when we get into the characters that they brought to the table, because this was these video game movies, they don't need to be serious. They just need to do exactly what they're supposed to do and serve the fans. And
did they serve the fans? I don't know. We'll see if this as this review goes on. So we shall see. But to get things started off, I do want to talk about that wonderful rating system of Rotten Tomatoes. And when I checked it, it was the scores were kind of fluctuating between 41% and 44%. pretty low from a critical perspective. However, on the flip side of the coin, we also have started this new type of series where we talk about movies if they're rotten, as designated by Rotten Tomatoes, audience scores in the 90s. So interesting. IMDb 6.5. I don't know. We shall see if we are in tune with whether it's the critics or the audience scores. But before we get into that, let's break them off with your version of the plot.
It's a new beginning for sisters separated by universe expansion, and we want to see every single character we've seen in 2D, in 3D. Oh, wait, it's Yoshi. And Bowser is good? Question mark? The end.
Burgundy? Yeah, so the plot was maybe that. I couldn't tell because, like, the plot in this movie was definitely not as linear as the first movie, right? Like, Luigi has this little side quest. Luigi goes to his mansion and is spooky and scared, right? In the first one. This one was kind of like really all over the place. So I'm enjoying the movie. I'm having fun with the music. I like seeing the characters. I like seeing them utilizing their fireballs. And they do that like right off the bat, right? So that's
Right
kind of
away.
cool. They eat some flowers, spit some fireballs. And I like it. I like that there is that type of cartoonification of what we've been seeing in a video game for years. So I'm down with it. And I like just the overall vibe that this movie is starting off with. Now, when it comes to the actual plot, I want you to be honest with me. Is there a legitimate plot?
I feel like there's as much of a plot in this movie as there is in any video game that involves Mario. Somebody got taken. He has to go rescue them. He rescues them. That's all we need. This is not Shakespeare. This isn't a mystery film. It's not a thriller. The only Oscar it's going to be up for is Best Animated Movie. We're fine. This movie did exactly what it needed to do from a plot perspective. Service the fans. Boy, did it with both hands.
So, but you're not answering the question. Did it have a plot? Besides someone got taken.
That's a plot. Man rescues princess.
There's a lot in between, though. I feel like there's, very much like the first movie. There's side quests. I was surprised not to see Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong in this. I was actually kind of like not bummed, but I was like, huh, that's interesting. And they
gave him
talked
his
about
own
him quite a bit.
game. He's getting his own movie. Maybe.
Oh, will they, though? Because I'm not going to fucking see Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
I mean, let's be honest. They fully upgraded with Childish Gambino as fucking Yoshi.
So when I heard that he was going to be Yoshi, I was thinking like, oh man, are they really going to make him be Yoshi? Like, I like my Yoshi just mute. Like, just make some noises, but other than that,
you like your
mute.
Yoshi like you like your Groot?
Yeah, exactly. So when I heard about that, I was like, that's interesting. And then throughout the movie, he literally just said Yoshi and like just kind of played it up. So I was kind of puzzled as to why they got him for that role, because they could have gotten any voice actor. And granted, yeah, great, get a name and everything, but do we need him as Yoshi?
Did you see the interview?
No.
He called them.
Did he really?
Yeah, he talks about it in some of the interviews that they were doing for press. He like reached out and was like, "Hey, can I be Yoshi?" And they're like, "Yoshi doesn't say words. He just says Yoshi." And he's like, "Perfect. I'll do it." Like he watched the movie with like his cousin or something. It was just, he's he's our age-ish, right? Maybe a little younger, but in general, like, who doesn't want to be in a Mario movie?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to play as themselves in Mario Kart?
So, but I'll just say this, though. Vin Diesel as Groot makes sense, because you don't need Vin Diesel to say anything else. You really don't, right? I feel like Donald Glover has a lot more talent, and he could have lent his voice in so many different facets and characters and whatever, right? But you just have him as Yoshi? Like, I feel like...
he doesn't need to.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying, though. He doesn't need to, but at the same time, from a studio perspective and a Donald Glover fan perspective, it would have been cool to be able to have him as another character so he could actually act as opposed to just saying Yoshi in a different variation. Instead of pulling a Vin Diesel for Donald Glover.
Some of those Yoshis had some really deep inflection and some high notes to them. It's not easy, man.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm not like mad that he is Yoshi. I was just kind of puzzled. Like, wasted opportunity. Like if he comes back to, is there an evil version of Yoshi? I know there's like Waluigi and Wario. Is there like a bad
Not that
version
I'm
of
aware of.
Yoshi? Why the fuck? Where's that? Nintendo, where the fuck have you been? There's been an evil version of every other character, so why not make one of Yoshi? And then there you go. He could be the evil version of Yoshi. So let's do it. Let's do it. Super Mario Infinite Worlds, whatever movie comes next. That's what we're doing. Let's do that.
Oh, man.
So what did you think about like going into this movie? I know I thought that, okay, we went from the Super Mario Brothers movie to the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I think we're missing a step with Super Mario World, but hey, who am I to judge? What were your expectations heading into this movie?
They definitely skipped multiple steps, right? From Bros to World, but I liked that they didn't just do like a same thing. They didn't go back to New York. I mean, for a second they did, but it was a flashback of Yoshi. But like you thought by the way they ended the first one in the post credits that they were like, well, this is going to take place in New York again. Didn't go to Kong. Didn't do any of that. They showed you so many other places that you visit in Mario games and some of the more modern Mario games. So the first one, all of the feels for us elder millennials and Gen Xers, right? Like all of the feels of going, DK Country, all that was there. Galaxy was more of a GameCube game, right? And that was more of the Gen Z population's home game, or the younger millennials' first Mario game. But they still did the music. There was a few great, like, Super Mario Brothers Easter eggs in this. They gave you the Super Mario World thing that Bowser drove around everywhere in this. They gave you the Bowser Jr. I wasn't upset that they skipped some levels because, let's be honest, isn't that the goal in every Mario game, is to skip some levels and get to the end?
That is true. I was playing Mario 3 with some family members. I'm not going to say which family member, and they were god awful. It was like almost like my blood was boiling, but at the same time, like, this is just a game. Just let it be. And this person that was playing, the adult, just could not figure out how to Super Mario. That's the only way I could put it. Because, like, you know how, like, you've seen just, it's automatic. You know, when you need to run, you hold down this button and then you go faster, right? Apparently, that's not a known thing to a lot of people who didn't play video games or whatever. Like, I just don't understand that. So maybe it's my video game nerdism that is just like...
No, it's just ingrained in you. It's like somebody who grew up playing chess knows how to play chess. We grew up jumping and going and hitting fucking question marks. Like, my son watches me flip through it and just jump and hit and jump and hit. Like, it's like a boxer. The last thing they lose is their punch. The last thing we lose from a video game skill perspective is precision side-scrolling jumps. Like, can I pick up the sticks and go play like fucking Fortnite and do all the first-person shooter stuff because I played a lot of GoldenEye? Absolutely not. But God damn it, if there's a side-scroller, I can pick up those 3 buttons and just light them on fire. Can't do the crazy build your own weird ass spinny, gotta jump on it like the Super Mario Builder that people do, that I'm just like, that gives me anxiety thinking that would actually be a real level. But I just, I could play. I'm classically trained, as they say.
Speaking of classically trained, there's a lot of different things in this movie itself, but it is an animation movie. So from a classic animation perspective, what did you think about the animation overall? How would you rate this against like Toy Story or some of the other Pixar movies, or even like some Illumination movies?
I think that it's very much in the Illumination style, right? It's 3D. It's obviously computer generated, not just hand drawn or anything like that. But I think they capture the characters very well. And like, if you play any of the more modern Marios, like Odyssey on Switch, it's very much the same Mario that you play. So like, my son, who's 5, like, sees the character he knows from the game. And I think that that's important to build, that appreciation for that character. We don't have fucking Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in this movie. We've got something that actually looks like the characters we're looking to see. There's no Captain Lou Albano playing Mario here. It's the real deal. And that show, that Super Mario Brothers Super Show, when they did animation in it, it was pretty good and pretty accurate to like the comics we got at the time. But translating pixel to pixel with modern games is not a bad thing, and I think it's pretty awesome.
This animation looked so damn clean to me. I was noticing, and I've become a little bit more aware as to what to look for, because you go back to some of those Toy Story movies, even to like Toy Story 3, just it looked really realistic. The trees looked as if they put an actual tree there. And so I was noticing the same thing for Mario, like those blades of grass look like legitimate grass. So I'm like picking up on like the small little animation details, because I think that's something that goes unappreciated with some of these movies, is the fact that like, it's a cartoon movie. I know I'm 100% an example of that, because I will downplay a movie just because it's animated. But when you appreciate the animation that's going into it, how realistic it looks, but also weaving in the crazy weird shit that they have in there, like flowers that make you spit fireballs and all that. It's such a cool combination of unrealism and real shit that's out there. So I really like that. What about from a character perspective? Like, did you think that you might go into this movie thinking like, we're going to have way more characters and it's going to be like a cameo fest in this movie, and it might take it away from the whole idea of everything?
What you just described is exactly what I want from a Mario movie. Give me a cameo fest. Like, I loved all the deep reaches they gave us in the first movie, from Wrecking Crew to all the DKs and Diddy Kong and all that. And in this one, they did us one better, in my opinion, because they went as far as Galaxy. They gave you some things from Odyssey and from other games, like the island with the little people, the dinosaur aspect of it. And then they gave you the Mario 2 guys that you and I really appreciate, that in the club that was multi-sided, which is a newer game thing. They dropped the OG villains from Mario 2 in it, all of them, and they're just fucking going at it. And I mean, how awesome is that? It was so cool to see them cross over and exist in the same plane. It's very Wreck-It Ralph, like when they got all the different arcade properties to drive across each other and like exist in the same plane. I dug it. Did you think there were too many new characters?
It's not that I thought there were too many new characters. I just use that as an example because that's what typically happens in live action sequels, right? You bring in a whole bunch of other characters. Perfect example is going to be Mortal Kombat Annihilation, right? Mortal Kombat Annihilation had such promise because Mortal Kombat, the original in 1995, was so hype. And then I went to go see Mortal Kombat Annihilation in theaters, and they just started name dropping people. There's people just getting their asses kicked that was like, oh man, I love playing as that character. And they're fucking gone after like 2-minute fights. It was just kind of disappointing. So I was hoping that that wouldn't necessarily be the case. But you know what? You're right. I don't think it really plays for animation.
Well,
live action is different.
It's not that it doesn't play for animation. It doesn't play for Mario. You don't play with this, like you play with Mario the whole game.
Yeah.
But every time you go up, like, to the next level, it's a whole new tapestry, a whole new set of characters, different color Goombas and stuff. Like, they introduce new things all over the place.
It works. It works. So with the different cameos, and I was kind of geeking out when I saw the Super Mario 2 villains, and I was going to turn to my son and say like, it's the guys from Super Mario 2, but I knew that he didn't know who they were because he hasn't played it. So I was like, okay, never mind. But it's cool. It's nice to see some of that stuff because, yeah, you want to have some of the nostalgia. And you're right, because you don't play as them, it's not like it's taking away from the story. If you played the video game and recognize them, great. It's fan service there. If you recognize it, no problem. If you don't, you're not thinking twice. You're just thinking like, man, they got some weird ass characters in this movie. Okay. And then you just go on and then you see another weird ass character and it's 100% fine. I'm okay with it. The one thing I wasn't really sure of with the whole plot is I have no idea who Rosalina was. And it sounded so much like Peach that I wasn't sure if it was like a twin. and they're just like sisters separated at birth, it kind of made sense as, it kind of unfolds. I didn't realize that was Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson, as Rosalina, and then you got Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, just like from the last movie. So pretty cool to have some nice tie-ins. I saw some memes and headlines about stuff to where Brie Larson she's trying to dig herself out of the hole that she put herself in by just talking mad shit during like press tours, like with Avengers, and becoming almost unlikable in some cases. So she's trying to. There's some memes and headlines of like Brie Larson trying to get her career back by just going into another franchise because she's done with Fast and Furious. Now she's done with Mario. So I'm okay with her though. She's a great actress, and I enjoy her. I get it.
So the Brie Larson thing, Brie Larson has been pro Nintendo forever, as far as I know. Always talking about different games she was going to play and like gaming on the side. Like she is a legit fan who got to play a character that she enjoys. Like it's not it could be a career, rejuvenating move too, but like she was just stoked to do it. Same as Donald Glover. I feel like there's so much love for the franchise and the IP that you get these giant actors to do it because they're just stoked, and that's why you get these big names playing, like side quest parts. The Rosalina and Peach relation thing was a retcon from all the games. Like there was never a link between the two. It was just another princess, but they created it for the movie storyline. And I don't have a problem with it.
Just for the movie. So this has nothing.
That's my understanding. Yeah, there's not like a link in the before from it, but like there's some hate on the internet that why'd you change this? Blah 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 blah. Who cares? You got
what was some of the hate? I don't know because I'm not a huge Nintendo
the backstory of a character that's been out for 40 years. Blah 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 blah. And I don't like, she never really had a rich backstory.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I was even asking my kids who played some of the Mario games after, like the original run on NES and Super and GameCube and everything. It was like, I asked them like, hey, is that like legit? Is Peach and Rosalina sisters? I don't know. Okay. Like they don't say anything? Okay, great. Great conversation.
Care about the plot of the backstory. I will say though, along the lines of the cameos in this movie and all of the different characters. You see, I say cameos. It's really just character insertion, right? Visual cameos. I can't talk enough about the music and the way that they intertwined every Mario melody you've ever heard and loved. From the beginning of the movie, where they do the dungeon music as they're going down with the fire flowers, where they hit the interlude music, right? That just the whole thing, even early in the movie, where you hear the Star Fox music a little in the background and you get a little, ooh, is that? No. And then, when they bring in the only cameo in this that is cross property, like non-existent before, other than in Smash Bros, you get Fox in this. You mentioned the backstory with, Rosalina and Peach. How much did you know about Fox? And did you get all the Star Fox references in this?
I didn't get any of the Star Fox references. I knew Star Fox in itself. I didn't know anything about because I never played the games. I think I may have played it like once for like a demo or something like that. But yeah, I never really got into Star Fox. And it was cool to see it though. I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. They're branching out into some of the other different characters. I would have thought that there would have been a little bit larger of a role, but it's Glenn Powell. He can do no wrong. Fine. Sign him up as Star Fox. I'm good to go. And apparently I think he lobbied for that as well. So it's kind of like, just like Donald Glover. Is that just what you got to do? You just got to lobby for shit? Because if that's the case,
we're lobbying. We've been trying to lobby for all kinds of shit.
I love video games. I'll be in any video game that you want that I play. So come on.
I'll be in video games I don't play. My voice for free. Yeah, I think Brie Larson just has in her contract that every character she plays from now until eternity needs to have some kind of cosmic power that allows her to shoot blasts out, and she has to be able to fly.
I liked Rosalina's powers. That was really cool. For someone who is not really in the know of all the Mario characters, because when I started realizing, like, why are there so many goddamn princesses in this Super Mario Kart video game or whatever. It's like, who the hell's Rosalina? Who's Daisy? Like, I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the original Mario Brothers show, it was Daisy, right? Or am I thinking of the movie was Daisy? The movie was
Daisy. But that Daisy is from Super Mario Land on Game Boy. If you remember Super Mario Land, which I would love if it wasn't black and white. I mean, they did redo it, but either way. Yeah, no, there's Daisy, there's multiple Mario princesses out there. But I mean, they even put Rob the Robot in.
I don't know where that's from.
Rob the Robot was an accessory for the original Nintendo that just hooked up and moved things with your Nintendo.
I remember that.
It was like it's just a status symbol. It's like the power.
It was kind of stupid, right? Didn't really do anything. Right?
I'm not going to diss Rob the Robot, but he did not do much.
Yeah,
he did not do much. But the fact that they put him in, that's what I need from this movie. I don't need a plot. I don't need a mystery. I just need to smile and enjoy it, while my kid enjoys it too for completely different reason.
What did you think of, speaking of the plot, because a big part of the plot is Bowser being good. What did you think of that?
I mean, they gave Bowser puppets. They let Jack Black play with puppets. And you know me, I fuck with puppets like nobody's business. I was stoked on that. It was a very good, like, parent story, in my opinion. Like a movie you're happy to bring your kids to, which I can't think of the last movie that, and I have a 5-year-old. I have a young 5-year-old who, like, I'm not bringing to, like, super violent movies. I had a hard time watching Hook with him, right? Because Rufio and the stabbing. But spoilers for those of you that haven't seen Hook. But it's just nice, and I like the Bowser is a good guy, because Bowser is like half the kid's favorite thing because of the song from the first one. Well, my kid was belting out Peaches for a year and a half.
So the problem with that is that they didn't have a song really for him. You know, like nothing is transcendent as Peaches. So
yeah.
That's where I thought there was a missed opportunity.
But they had cool space boots for Glenn Powell. They called out the weird, not fox foot-shaped footwear for Glenn Powell.
It's funny. That's adult humor, right?
Oh, it is. It is. They also threw in
2020.
You didn't get the Star Fox reference that they threw in about my engineer's a frog. They're just ripping on Slippy from Star Fox, which is right over your head. But as a kid who grew up with Star Fox, it was awesome. Let me ask you this. Did you miss not having like a full-on ballad in this, or were you okay?
If I can skip ahead a little bit, that I won't say it Martha. Well, no, it Martha'd me. I was like, why? Why did you rob me of this? I came to see this movie because I was pretty damn sure that Jack Black was going to go into some type of song or second version of Peaches. You know, like that's what I was hoping for.
I mean, dude, when they busted out the Super Scope 6 and turned everybody into a baby, I stopped caring. I was like, oh my God, they just did Yoshi's Island.
Yeah. That was another thing too, is like, how are they gonna, like, they really stacked this fucking movie with all iterations of Mario in all different timelines of everything. So just kind of fun. And I love going back to the animation. I love them going back to like the 8-bit cartoon style, like the things that they're interweaving, like as they're accomplishing the different levels and everything.
The montage.
So it goes right back.
The montage was great.
Fantastic. But yeah, to go back to your question, I was pretty bummed. It didn't have to be a ballad. It just needed to be a fucking song for Jack Black to belt out. And whether or not it's like, you know, like he's like singing to his son and talking about how he's going to kill these two plumbers, I would have been fine with that. I would have been 100% fine, but I didn't get it. So yeah, I'm going to say it Martha'd me.
I want a Bowser puppet.
It was kind of cool how they brought in Dry Bowser. Like, I knew I was sitting next to this kid, maybe 7, 6 years old, and he was so into this movie. I know that because he was just so jittery, and he was putting his foot and his leg on my recliner. And so I'm just like trying to like move my foot over. So it's like, I can't be having leg cuddles with this kid. So like, I'm not going to also like, I don't want to call him out on anything. But the second that he removed his leg, like I quickly moved my behemoth of a thigh over to that side. So like if he did move it over, like he'd know like my foot is on this guy's leg. I better stop. But he was jittery. He was like talking about like, oh, that's so and so, and even his mom and his sister like, you gotta be quiet. But it was kind of cool to see that, just because like, you know what? Yeah, I had no idea who that person was or that character was, but he did, and so good for him. The excitement was just almost too much. Almost affected my viewing experience, but hey, it's a kid. He's having a good time at the movies.
Yeah, no, my 5-year-old was locked in. He was a little wiggly, and the chairs with the auto recline are his favorite. But he, like, the first time, I think he had to go to the bathroom twice and was like whining about it. He was locked into this movie.
Got that bladder under control. Good for you, Ben.
Big boy. But yeah, no, he was in it. And to go back to your talk about the 2D changeovers, like, talk about great fan service. My favorite one was at the end when they used the overhead and sideways scene from the OG Mario Brothers Bowser battle on the bridge.
Yeah, that was cool.
When they're going in and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna do a bridge shot. They're gonna take it back to 84 and give us the bridge shot, or 86, and they did.
I was hoping though that it was going to be more Mario-esque, more video game-esque. Like Mario does something ridiculous, like he jumps over Bowser, right? And he just realizes like, wait, I can just pull this out and the bridge goes down. Like, that's what it should have been. He's like, I wonder what this does. Pops it open, bridge goes away, and then all you see is just like a Tom and Jerry moment where he looks down, sees the lava, looks back up, the feet flutter, and then he falls in, and then that's it. That would have been cool. I would have loved to see that. So I was like really hoping for like that, because they did plenty of like the classical Mario stuff to where it's like, yes, exactly how I remember it from the game. That I think would have been, maybe not from a cinematic perspective, the best way for Bowser to fall into the lava. Because when he fell into lava, that kid sitting next to me was so bummed. He was so bummed that Bowser fell into the lava. I was like, dude, you must have not have played the first game, because that happened a lot. Every freaking level.
I guarantee that kid has not played the first game.
Yeah. But
and if he did, he didn't even get to one Bowser. No,
because he couldn't run
only
fast.
3 levels.
Yeah, he couldn't run fast to get to the point.
No, he couldn't make the long jumps by holding A and hitting B. He couldn't do it.
But I will say, like, the appearance of Dry Bowser, which was pretty cool. The kid, once again, he really brightened up when he saw that. So I was happy for him that he was not dead. But Dry Bowser, I didn't even realize until my kids got a Switch and we started playing Mario Kart, and I saw like Dry Bowser. Like, what kind of lazy ass name is Dry Bowser? What a stupid ass name. And then here it is, Dry Bowser comes out, and I was like, like, I'm just glad that he didn't refer to himself as Dry Bowser, because that would have been fucking stupid. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of good character stuff, and there was some tension there. Like you see Bowser, who kind of has this conflict of like, I want to kill these plumbers. Well, no, they're actually my friends. They set me free. It's all good. Like, I kind of like that dynamic of, you never know what's going to happen, but at the same time, it was like, so wait, he's going back to his kid and he's just fine with killing these plumbers now? Like, it seems kind of shallow, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that at all?
I just think that, he raised the kid to a certain way, and then he changed, but the kid didn't go through the same experience. And the kid was just trying to live up to dad. It's a classic, tale as old as time.
He should have, if that was the case, he should have called out the Rocky IV speech, and he should have said, like, if I can change, you can change.
You can change. You're not going to change. Everybody could change.
Yeah, that would have been the best. It would have been, and it's right there in the time frame that people would have understood that, and Jack Black could have rocked the shit out of that line That line of dialogue right there would have been perfect for him. So, man, so many what ifs. So many what ifs.
Hey, what if they do another one? That's what I'm really stoked about. What if we get a Star Fox movie? Everybody needs more barrel rolls.
I think that's in the works because I don't think you just do that with Glenn Powell and not come out with a Star Fox game, but they need to have something else interwoven because I don't know if Star Fox can just stand by itself. Agree or disagree?
I played the games and they're one of my favorites, but Nintendo also has not driven the franchise very well. Like there hasn't been a new Star Fox game since Wii U, and it wasn't really like a new Star Fox game. There's maybe a handful of them out there, and most of them are remakes of the other. Like they released it on S, and then they just refreshed it for N64. It was basically the same game. And then so on and so forth, right? There's some deviation in the GameCube arena, but like in general, there's been very like maybe one Star Fox game per console since SNES. I mean, a flight sim in space with battles and quips and a team, they need to put another one out. It's one of the things that's been asked for a lot on Switch and now Switch 2. So I think that's going to lead into a game more than another movie, just like Donkey Kong led into Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a new game that launched with Switch 2. So I think that it'll probably lead to a first-party game. I know that the next Nintendo-based game that's supposed to come out is a Zelda one, or the next movie is a Zelda one. Like that's the next Nintendo property they're hitting.
God,
But
if they do that right,
what?
if they do that right, it could be so damn good.
The only problem is like, which one do you do?
Yeah.
There is rumor that before the end of the year, they're supposed to release a Star Fox game and a remake of Ocarina of Time, which is arguably the best Zelda. Like that or Breath of the Wild are the best Zelda games. So it's Nintendo has such a deep gallery. But they even threw like Pikmin in this, which unless you knew what Pikmin was and played that, like it's not a super, mainstream game. You didn't know what it was. You just thought it was a cool thing in a spaceport. But people who played that game and really liked that game were like, holy crap, it's Pikmin.
Yeah. There's plenty of fan service in it.
Oh.
But I want to talk about like the characters overall. So, we talk about the Mario movie. I don't think Mario is a star in this movie. I'm fine with Chris Pratt being Mario. It's, him not being the, an Italian plumber is perfectly fine with me. I don't need like that real to life for my voice actors. But at the same time, I had no problem with it. But Mario was a little bit unlikable in this.
No, this was Bowser's journey. This movie was Bowser's journey.
But was it though? Because it was more of Peach and Rosalina, apparently. Like it's like side quest for everyone. It's like, okay, everyone, like we're not all gonna stay together, side quest, and when we all come back together, it's no one's surprised to see each other. It's just, okay, let's go on to the next level. That's where it was a little bit disjointed for me. Chris Pratt, for a Mario movie, I feel like they should have made him a little bit more likable. Because he was he was just a big jerk for like the first half until Bowser became his buddy. Like then he became likable and not such a douche. So that's where to me, it just doesn't, it's not as balanced for Mario as a character. Luigi, man, is Luigi always scared? Is that just his thing? Like in video games?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I always liked Luigi better than Mario. And now it's just like, okay, with all these iterations of Luigi just being really scared, I don't know if I like Luigi anymore, but I like Charlie Day. I don't care what regardless of his Luigi Mangione joke, he's funny and I like the character, so can't do any wrong.
Yeah, no, the nice thing about this is even though it is all of these famous people, I don't think that they dissipate the characters that you're seeing. Like, I'm not like, oh, it's Chris Pratt playing Mario. It's just like, it just sounds like Mario.
Yeah.
And I think that's a quality to the animation and a quality to the action that they put together and the music and the way that it just does what a movie is supposed to do and make you suspend reality and realize that this is also the Tenacious D guy and the guy from fucking Lava Chicken and all that. But you just let it go and it's just Bowser.
Do you think his like whole cosmic empire was really that compelling? Or was it just like, oh yeah, he got to his little empire and they decided to mess some stuff up and then of course something happens. Like I
Well,
feel
I
like it
think
wasn't completely fleshed out.
it was the kid did what the dad, like, you always told me this story, and, it was a great, I thought, a great connection of, how your words impact your kids.
Sure.
And even as
Sure.
you can grow, your kids are still gonna look at what you taught them, not what, you may have learned. So
Yeah, I guess it
it was a call for presence. It was, father-son bonding. It was what happens when Bowser falls in lava. It was all kinds of stuff.
yeah, I mean, I guess I understand that. Like I know that it's from a father-son perspective. I totally get it. But at the same time, I just felt like what are we really working towards? Like that's the thing. Like
It doesn't need
Rosalina
to work towards
captured.
anything. It doesn't need to. They did too
I
much of that in the 90s, where they had all these terrible killings of all the parents and made kids orphans. We don't need to be Littlefoot, whose mom and dad get eaten and he's got to go find his grandparents. We don't need to be the Fievel, where he gets separated from his parents as a little mouse all the time. Like, why can't we just have positive interactions with our parents that don't die?
I guess. I don't know. I suppose, but I guess from not being the biggest Mario fan, that I just was looking for something a little bit more in terms of the plot, so it is what it is. Is it, does that Martha me? No, I'm just pointing out what I think is obvious from a story perspective. What about from the overall, I can't say overall roster of characters, but is there any performance that you were just wishing to have a little bit more of? Maybe you wanted a little bit more of Toad, or the onions that Mario throws at people. Anything.
I would have liked to see more of the Star Fox crew.
Mm.
Like, the fact that Fox is the only one that got lost didn't make a bunch of sense to me, but, either way, I got the Arwing was there, the barrel roll, the jokes about Slippy, like, I was all in it. But I think that you could have done, like, the 4 Arwings and had the banter between the pilots be a even better Easter egg. But,
Okay.
I mean, it's not something that took away for me. It was just, how can I make it better? How can I spice this up a little bit more? It tastes good, but what kind I want to add a little more depth. Like, didn't need it. It's okay that it wasn't there. But I mean, if you ask me, who doesn't want more Star Fox other than you, who doesn't know
Okay.
anything about it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Any like other video game things that you kind of wish that you saw more of? Obviously, we saw a lot of like the transformations of Mario and Luigi. Some of them I wasn't even aware of. Like I'm assuming that they're real. Like the whole like drilling thing. Like he
Yeah,
goes
the
underground
suits
and
and stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, they're from more recent games. I mean, one of my favorite underground references was obviously the Super Scope 6. That was like turning people into babies. But when little Bowser went into his armory, you saw every Nintendo accessory in there, right? There were zappers
Oh
in
yeah.
there. There's all kinds of stuff. So, like, could we have busted out more of the armory and seen even more? Like, could it have been cooler like that? Could they pulled out the jump boots from the original Mario movie with
Oh my
John
gosh.
Leguizamo? Like, like, could they? Could they have? Maybe. Could they have? Could one of the guns have accidentally transformed Yoshi into the weird dinosaur he was in that movie and then quickly transformed him back as an amazing nod? Maybe, but the kids would have been weirded out. So I think that this was overflowing with references and Easter eggs. Do you need more? I mean, more's great, but man, it was rich.
Before we get into that big question, did anything Martha you? I kind of talked to you. What Martha me was the lack of the Jack Black song.
I think that in the moment, nothing Martha'd me. I got through the movie. There were so many references that I didn't even think about. Is Jack Black gonna sing? But, like, who doesn't love a Jack Black song? So while it didn't, like, Martha me in a serious way, looking back on it now, like, it would have been great. Like, miss. I wonder what, like, I'd love to understand the backstory behind that. Did they have to pay out a certain amount of royalty to Jack Black because of it? Did it create issues in music publishing? Do they think it distracted from everybody else? Was Chris Pratt like, well, if Jack sings, I want to sing? You know, was the fact that Childish Gambino was there, were they like, you're not the best singer anymore, Jack? Like, I don't know. Did Jack Black say, bro, I'm done. I did Peaches and Lava Chicken back to back. It's over, baby. Is because Kyle Gass isn't around with him anymore? Has he gone on a singing hiatus? We don't know.
Well, we talked about the characters. We talked about the music. We talked about what we liked, what we didn't like. But what we didn't talk about is, Mark, when it comes to Super Mario Galaxy, can you do this all day?
I can. I hope this is a movie my kid wants to watch over and over, because I feel like it's just great at any point that the background music gets you there. It's going to be a solid soundtrack while trying to do work. You know what I mean? It's a good, like, put it on in the background soundtrack that just makes you happy. But yeah, no, I could not. I don't know that there was any bad parts of this movie for me. So it's a definite 2 thumbs up for me. Might have liked it, other than the lack of a Jack Black song, more than the first one. So for me, it's great. Mario 2 over Mario 1 in many cases, other than catchy banger song. But enough about me, Dan. When it comes to you and Super Mario Galaxy, can you do this all day?
I'm going to just flat out say no. It's not because I didn't like the movie, but it's because there's some things that Martha'd me. And walking out of the theater, I just thought it was okay. It was entertaining. It was good. I enjoyed myself. I had a fun time, but I wouldn't say that it dialed it up to 11 for me. Like, I just felt like, oh, that was really cool that they did this. Cool that they put Star Fox in there. I don't know shit about Star Fox, but at the same time, it was still cool. I don't know if I will willingly rewatch this. If the kids want to watch it for dinner one day or something like that, while we eat dinner, put it on, okay, I'm okay with it. But I'm not going to say, like, hey, do you guys want to watch Super Mario 2? Let's do this. Like, it's just not there. It's not grabbing me. So I wouldn't say that I would agree with the critics for their score of like a 41%, but I do agree with like an IMDb rating of what they have, which is right around 6.5. 6.5 is something that you're not going to be disappointed you're watching it, but you might not ever watch it again. So I think that's where I'd land for this. Now, will I say I'll never watch it again? No, I probably will, maybe clips here and there, or if my kids are watching it, but I'm not sticking around to watch it. You know, like that's not, I'm not going out of my way. So that's my rating for it. Like, I cannot do it all day, but it's not because it's not a good time. If you're a Mario fan, you need to watch this movie. But if you are a casual Mario fan, or maybe even you just don't really know what Nintendo is and have been living under a rock for the past 50 years, then you know what? You probably don't need to watch this. And I don't think you'll get it either. So that's the thing. There's a lot of things that people will appreciate, and you and I have appreciated because we played the video games. But for the others, nah. And that's where my I Can Do This All Day rating is for the people. It's for the people that are out there. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to
part-time Avenger.
But that wraps it up for another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Is Dan wrong, or am I right? The world may never know, but we want to know what you think. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Tell us your favorite Mario cameo in this at I Can Do This All Day podcast on all of the socials. Don't forget, leave us a review. Tell us what you think.
Woohoo!
Do a barrel roll.